Hey everybody, who doesn't love puppy themed things? This one is Pups in the Park, a Memory Keeper junk journal. I am Christy, one of the ambassadors with Papercraft Socials. I'm also a mixed media artist that do chainmail and other things besides paper. So today we are playing around with, like I said, the Memory Keeper. And I already have all my stuff pre-cut. So I'm going to show you the first two things we need right now. This is the inside of the front cover, and then you have two components to create the front cover. I'm going to be using double-sided tape. I'm going to personally be using my tape runner and glue stick. You don't have to use a tape runner. You don't have to use double-sided tape. Glue stick works. I have some scrap paper right here. I personally will be using my bone folder. Again, you can use a glue stick or anything with a good edge to help fold. You do not need to use a creaser for this because we need the folded edges more than anything else right now. So I'm going to show you how to fold the edges on this one here in a second, but we're going to start with this right here because this piece is going to be off by itself, no extra support whatsoever. So we want to give it some extra support. This is the top of the doghouse that I'm talking about. I have a scrap piece of paper for one of my many different random projects, and I'm just going to glue it down just like that. I can use my tape, my double-sided glue, my tape runner, my double-sided tape, glue stick. As you can see this time, I normally use the tape or double-sided tape runner, but I'm using glue stick this time because I know not everyone carries all the different random things I do. And I'm just going to put it down. So later, while we're working elsewhere, that will be giving us more support as you use this as a memory keeper for this part right up here, because this all that we'll have besides this now is the backing. There will be nothing else up here. So that's why you want to give it a little extra support. Sometimes you might want to do two pieces. That's really up to you. So on this one here where it has A, and it has writing down here and a tab, you're going to fold all those tabs. But if you look right here on the edge of the doghouse where it has A, it has a seam right there you're going to want to fold as well. I actually fold that before anything else. And we're folding it to the white side. So you just do the best you can on getting to that blue line. And then folding it down. If you have a good edge on your table, that's another option. I actually do not, so it's a rounded table edge. It will not work. But that is going to give us part of our spine right here. Now we're just going to fold these tabs down and not right now, just leave them there. I will show you what I personally do here in a few minutes. I'm not worried about creasing these at this point. I'm just trying to get them folded. And I'll go back later and crease them probably. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. In fact, I think I'm going ahead and crease them. Get that sharp edge I want. Alright, we have one more tab here to fold. And then we'll move to the other part of the front cover. So sometimes when you will have to decide as you're doing this, I'm not doing it today, is if you're going to add inking to the edges. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That is really up to you, and that is a personal preference. So we have a part here, 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 and here to fold. So first off, I'm going to work over here because this will make more sense in a minute. So there's a small brown line running through there at this point of C, and you're just going to fold to your best ability to that. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go from where it has the tab B and C, there's another line we're going to fold. And we're pulling that one. Now this is why I left this to last. This actually does not, needs to be folded in to like so on that line. But even though it's not glued, I'm picking up and kind of going to where the C fold is to help create that crease I need right there, because this fold actually needs to go back this way. So right now we're going to leave this loose and come and fold all of these tabs in. I'm going to fold them all this time before running my creaser across them. Maybe. I'll probably change my mind in 5 seconds. I'm going to just do the top side and fold real quick and do the creaser. Sometimes when you're folding, I have not had it happen yet today, but it will, you'll have a little white edge, and that is great to have the ink to do. Even though I will fold this one here, but I'm not going to glue that one down. You'll see why in a few minutes. And there's a reason why I fold before I connect the covers together, because it will get even bigger as we go. And unless you have a ton of workspace, working in smaller sections will be helpful. Okay, go ahead and fold where it says glue here, apply a front cover. Alright, now I'm going to flip that back out. I'm going to put this on the correct side. We're going to get the other cover we were working on. We're going to pull this out. This right here where it has tabs A that I have folded, I'm going to pull them out. I'm going to put my glue, and we just literally are going to line up and press it down like so. Now here I will go heavy and use my double-sided tape or and a glue stick or my tape runner. And this time I'm just going to use my tape runner. And I'm working on a silicone mat, so I'm not worried about my space if I get glue on my workspace. It's easy to clean. Now I'm just going to take this and line it up like so, and then press down. And then, so as you can see, if everything was folded and glued, it will close and make the memory keeper cover. But we're not there yet, because you have all these tabs laying out in the middle of air. Besides for these two here, we're leaving these two alone. But all these that I just folded that say A or have words on them are blank here. We're just going to glue them down because they're going to be in our way in a few minutes. You can use double-sided tape, the glue runner again. I'm just putting some glue stick. But as you can see, if you're using the other options, they will stick quicker. Sounds like a train's coming through, so you may be hearing that. I don't know if it actually will come through on my system. This is why I normally don't use the glue stick. As you can see, it's all popping up already. Okay, I'm just going to stop and go ahead and do what I normally do. Grab my double-sided tape, pull some off, and just start putting it down. So this is just double-sided tape. I have the cheaper versions that are easier to tear than the more expensive that you can get your hands on. I know there's some that have a red coloring in the scrapbooking world that is non-terrible at all. And as you can see, I just tore a big sheet off to work with. And if you already do glue and then have to go back and do like I am, you may get your hands a little sticky. Just a heads up. It's something I should do and I don't, is keeping something that is easily to clean the stickiness off while I'm working. Normally I would just get up, go wash my hands, and then come back. But I'm not going to leave y'all hanging for that long. So I grabbed one of my thicker tapes this time to show you a difference in the different sizings. I have 4 different tape sizes. So I'll grab another one here in just a second. I'm just getting these stuck down. Okay. They also do make tools for those who have trouble peeling the double-sided tape stuff up that you can purchase. That will make it easier for you to work with double-sided tape if that is something you struggle with. I normally have one with me, and I did not. I literally walked out of the house because I'm actually at another location today filming and left it. Now, if you ever take classes with me, this is the size tape y'all always get. And I will try to I know I get it off Amazon. There's so many different options, but I do not remember exactly what it is off my top of my head of the brand. I will try to remember to actually update my list of recommendations of stuff from Amazon. No guarantee. Because that's something I don't normally think about until I need it. And then I not where I can do it right that second as I'm thinking about it. So, this is a perfect example. I was trying to peel that tape and the top peeled off, but not the inside. So now I have double-sided tape stuck to my finger. So I was kind of come back and push in this little gap right here and make it glue down. But now it's going to bubble up a little, so you may have a little bubble there if that's something you also end up doing. Now I'm just going to stick this rest randomly. Okay, so I still have this part right here flapped open, and I'm leaving that way for a minute. So what I used to do is I would make sure I butt up to this so carefully on the side and then try to make perfect lines and everything else. Well, I learned something. After you cut the edges off of this piece, if you start at the end of your piece where you have the flap open of that, it covers all the way through that spot there. Yes, it will make it a little thicker. But then if you're like me, you don't have to get as frustrated on trying to make perfect lines. I normally will either double-sided tape and glue stick or my tape runner and glue stick. Because the amount of space I'm covering, I am not going to use just one of the options. And depending on your weather, also depends on what holds better. So now I'm just going to rub tape here, because we're now starting on the inside of the glue. And so what I did is I did the edges with my double-sided tape and then the glue stick in the middle. I only went to A right the second to do that. So I'm going to come right to the very edge here and put that tip with that tip, line up the bottom so I don't have to cut off the bottom at all, and go across the top like so. Now this is not all the way stuck down, as you can see. I'm going to flip sideways on y'all because this makes it a little easier on me, where I run more tape all the way through. See? And I'll grab my glue stick. I'm doing this one-handed right now. Go where I have a little gap there and run this across the whole area to get that extra security. And as I didn't go all the way to the edge there, so I'm adding a little more glue so it has a little more grip. And I'm just going to let this fall and press down. Now I noticed this one I got off a little, so that's something you want to watch for if you're using tape like I am, because this ain't coming back up. But that's also why inks are perfect, because they cover those issues. So next I'm going to show you what we're doing without actually doing it. I have another one I have pre-worked on. I'm literally putting on top here. So you can see these are pretty much identical. The difference is I went from the front and cut off all the excess. So that is the next step y'all need to do, is cut all this excess off. Save your excess, because I'm going to show you a couple things you can do with those as well. Okay. So I'm moving to one I have already cut, so I assumed y'all paused at this point, but if y'all didn't, please pause and go ahead and get that cut. I know I'm a slow cutter and I didn't want to make y'all wait about 5 minutes for me just to get a perfect cut. So we have this side here that I have not glued down yet. We are now going to glue it down by doing my tape runner. And then some glue stick. And then you might stick your own fingers to it. I have a habit of doing that. I'm folding it down. I'll go ahead and pick that corner up and then fold. I don't know why I do it that way, but I always have. And there you go, you have that fold done. Now, depending on what glue, you may want to pause and wait 5 to 10 minutes if all you used was a glue stick for everything to set good, so you don't create bubbles as we move on. So you remember all those folds we just did? They come in handy now. Because we already pre-folded, we're only folding one set of pages now instead of two. I've learned that one, I'm sorry, I'm just going to hit my camera. I learned that the hard way, that trying to fold 2 pages at once is not as easy as I want to make it sound. So there's that so far. Now we have partial fold here already done. I'm going to refold it anyway. Now we're going to lift up and fold on that other line right there. Now we have our outside completely done. You can see that's what I'm talking about by a little bubble. That's not going to bug me too bad, but if you do not let your glue sit long enough, those can happen all over the place and it will come apart. So we have our structure made, but now we need to do our pages. I'm going to make another video where I show you how to add all the tags and tabs in. So these are folders and stuff you get to add in. The reason why I'm saying that is depending on your preference, you're either going to want to lay your pages out before you glue these in or after. Since I have access to multiple kits, I'm going to show you both options in that video. But right now, I'm just going to show you how to fold, glue these together, and insert them into our memory keeper. Now, this is a small memory keeper. I mean, here's my hand. So there's pinky down. These you'll have to make small pictures, but I will be also covering how to do that in future video. I'm going to grab a drink real quick before we start our next section. If you're not like me and have not pre-cut, you're going to want pages like this right here. They will say 1 through, I think, 5 or 6, and then one without a tab on it. You want to grab all of those. And we're just going to put these in. Then we decorate. So, what I'll do is, because I know how it goes in, I'll take the first page, which has glue to tab 2. I actually pre-fold all these so you don't have one long sheet. You can glue them all together, then fold them. But let's say I'm working by 40-inch space. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to need a 6-foot long table to be able to do that minimum. So, I will take my piece, fold it where the white's showing to about the edge of where it needs to be for the next glue. Go ahead and press down. And that makes my fold. We are going organza is what I want to call it, fold, but I'm not positive. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about when I get there. Now we're going to carefully fold this tab right there. And we're going to press it down. I would pre-do all these pages, which I had not actually done, because it will make it go a ton quicker. And then you just have to glue. Now, again, depending on the glue you have, you might want to glue as you go so it has time to set. So after I get the second page folded, I will show you how to glue. So if you are needing to fold and glue as you go to get your glue time to set, you can. So I literally just had this folded and folded. You're gonna laugh. For parts of this, I will unfold for a minute. I'm using my tape runner and making sure I get a good run on it. And I'll open up this and line this up to my best of my ability. I'm going upside down on y'all, on the pattern, to that fold line I just did. And then I press down. And then you fold it up. You can see why I'm calling it a word. Organza, I think is what it's called. And if you're using, depending on the glue you need to let it sit, working as you go will help. So let's get these others lined up and folded. When I can't see the inside, I always double question myself. Sometimes I'll fold the tab first if that helps. But since I'm also trying to leave the border it creates, I'm going from the edge to point on the tab, not all the way down to the red. So that makes it a little harder. So that, like that. Fold. So you can see this one, you can see the two color difference. Not every single one has that, and that's why it's a little more challenging. I'm folding before I finish gluing, if you're wondering. If I thought ahead, I would have pre-folded some of these so y'all didn't have to wait on me, but I didn't think ahead on that part. So you can see how this one has the blue outline, but this one has a dark outline that blends in with the edge. That is where it gets trapped. You have to watch to the point of the edge on each side to the best of your ability. Press down. And so far I've been doing pretty good on my folds. I was looking to see before I crease it, because if I mess up, I can just redo. All right, let's fold this in. And so I also double check before I crease on that to make sure it's going out to that line as best of my ability, because you want to keep these as straight as you can so they lay better. Because you'll notice it if it goes wavy once you put it in the book. This one's a simple, easy one. You fold to the edge and done. And sometimes, no matter how long you let the ink sit, you will come off with a little bit of coloring on your pans. That is normal. And every time I've used my printer, that has been normal for me. So I don't know if that is for every type of printer, but it is definitely for mine. Okay, we already have glued these two together. We're just going to keep grabbing and gluing. If you don't want to glue 3 and 4 together, you can glue 3 and 5 together. You can switch this up. That is all your choice. Okay, that is now glued down. And we line this up again to the best of our abilities. Press down. And then you just fold, and you already have a good fold that way. Instead of having to keep trying to fold it as you go. That's when I noticed when I made a long sheet before I started pre-folding. That's when I get more wavy. And there's that one. Okay. One more. Now the only one that does matter is that very last one, because it does not have a tab to continue gluing with. Other than that, like I said, go crazy. Make your own lines. Okay, fold. So noticing I have a little lift here. So I can go in with my tape runner, run a little more tape, and push down. And I did it on both ends, so I did not watch carefully and go all the way to the end. That's what happened there. Okay, you have your last tab. I will open this project before I even put down to make sure I don't glue it wrong. Because all we need is a fire hydrant upside down. At least in my opinion, that's all we need. And now. There we go. So now we have our organza folio. I can stand up like that. And now you have a book you can flip through. Now this is an option for you. I am not going to do this. You can open up one of your pages, glue the bottom and the side, press them together where you still have the opening at the top. So like so, and then you have another hidden pocket where you can put things in it as well. That is something you can choose to do or not. And I'll probably show you in a future video, but I'm not doing that for this one. I'm doing a more simple style on this one. Okay. This, if I had ink, I would do these edgings so I could see where my creases are. But you're going to take your front cover and glue it all the way to the edge here. Down, just like that. I will take my tape runner and do the edging first on the paper. Okay, there's that edge. Now where's my glue stick? Even though I did the edging, I'm also running and putting glue in the middle. Okay, so let's pull this back. So, this is the most complicated part because you have all these folded pieces flying everywhere out on the side because I pushed them out to the side. I'm going to the bottom corner, dropping down to the top corner, dropping down, and then letting it drop all the way. Now that is in the book. Now you're going to fold all these lovely pieces back up, and when we glue the back page, you will have your book. So that is now stuck in the book like that. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with the back. I'm always making sure I don't accidentally get tape on a page underneath. And then rub it across like so. And then we're just going to line up to this fold right here. I am trying to keep it in so you can see I fold this up and then I push that as best of my ability up to the fold. And then let it drop down. Okay. Now you have your book. Now, this is about where I'm going to stop. You can see how a couple of them are a little off, but that's okay on there. This is why it's called organza, but like I said, if you choose, even now you can come in, add your glue at the bottom and on the side, press it together, and put it in. Now, something I have not made a decision on if I'm going to do or not. It is something I'm still debating on. I have other ways I'm going to cover it, but something you could do is poke a hole here, up here at the top, and put your dog tag on it as well if you have a dog. Make one for them. Also add some Velcro here and here to seal it shut. But I'm going to do that later. Actually, no, let me grab the Velcro now so you can see me do it. That's not going to help you if I do it later. So I have Velcro right here. And if you bought my ribbon kits, you will get 2 Velcro for the front and 1 in the middle for the inside parts. However, I go overboard and add a 3rd Velcro in this front piece here. Now I'm going to close it up, line it up to the best of my abilities because it is supposed to be a seamless pattern, and then press it down. Now I pull the inside cover up some to help press. So, and now it's stuck together, and then you just take 1 Velcro at a time. That page is bending more than normal on me. I may reinforce that page later with something. And there you go. You have a finished beginning part of a booklet. Now, you can watch my part 2, or you can go with and have fun. You have your tags, you have your pockets, you have your tags, you have some folders, and everything else. And on the part 2, I'll show you why I saved this right here. Thank you all for joining me. Please comment, like, and subscribe down at the bottom. I'd love to know what y'all thoughts are, or what y'all might like to learn more differently, or if you want me to focus on a single spot on this going forward. Again, thank you all for joining me. I hope to see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.